What's the matter? Yes? You're slowly starting to use the gel pad. You got 2 paws on it. Oh, I forgot to give you treats, did I? Is that the issue? Oh my goodness. How dare I? Okay. Okay. Let me just put this camera down. I'll get you your treat. Oh my goodness. How dare Daddy forget? I have to give you some extra livers for that. You want them up on the bed or you want them down here? You want them down here? You want them up on the bed? You want them over here? No. You want them over here? Okay. Is that better? Is that better? Kaiba and I just got back from our trip to the park. We're recording this in advance because Buddy Perry just went out for a bit with my brother, and I'm not sure where they're going, so I figured to get one video in. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that he may be going out of town in the next week or so, and if he does, I'm interested to know if you guys would be wanting to do a live episode of what we're doing today. And what are we doing today? Well, that's a good question. I did say it's Sunday, so you would think it's Super Deck Sunday that I'm doing. But I did also say we're filming in advance. And what comes after Sunday? Dollarama Draws of Destiny! So yeah, we're doing Tuesday's video today. Just trying to get it out there and record it just in case. Because, like I say, I think he's going out this week, but I don't know for sure. It might be next week, and regardless of which one he does, when I know, I will ask you guys if you would be interested in doing a live episode of Dollarama Draws of Destiny. It is one of the most interesting things we do on the channel, but just to make it more fun, I do have some other stuff we can open as well if we do a live episode. We do have more packs of Infinity sitting over here, and I've got about another 7 or 8 over there in the drawer, so we could do some of that. We could also do something that I recently got my hands on for a relatively good deal. Ignore the price sticker that's actually on the box, I can't seem to peel it off, but I got basically 21 packs of Brothers War sealed for $7 a pack. Not bad, considering that it's actually based on what I looked up online, going for $6 American. That means it weighs out to about $8.50 Canadian right now. So I actually got these for a pretty decent deal. So I'm also looking for some Transformers stuff. So thinking about doing a live episode, like I say, in the next week or two. If you guys would be interested in doing something like that, let me know. So that I can figure it out and let you guys know when we're going to do it. In the meantime, we'll talk about the trip to the park today a little bit. Just because I didn't do a recording, Kaiba was not happy. A little bit of a frustrating day for the poor baby. Hence why he was yelling at me when we got back, because I forgot his treats. Because even though he had a nice little box of bacon, which I usually get him on Sundays for our trips, we did also have some issues. But like I said, anyways, I want to do 4 packs of Destiny today because, sorry I'm rambling, I think we pushed our luck last week going 5 packs. I think we got a little greedy, so I decided we'll go back to the 4, see if we can get back on track with our legendaries. We did pull a lot of cool lands last week, so I'm not opposed to more lands, don't get me wrong. But I do have a lands box over here, and it is getting pretty full. As you can see, many lands. for many, many future builds. So, shout out to my former partner for giving me this box. Yes, I'm still using this. Thank you. I think it's actually a really neat box to keep lands in. I'm not really sure what Mindful Souls was anymore. I think it was like a monthly crystals box or something that she was getting. But, yeah. Anyway, we'll start with our packs. I don't believe any of these are ripped open as far as I can tell, so we should be good to open them all freshly unsealed. And like I say, we'll just knock out this video, and I'll probably call it a day for today, because I don't know whether I have time to do the Thursday video. With that said, I need to get going on this. Do pack 1, and then we'll talk about the park trip. Flip the card, check to make sure they're all rotated the right way. Ooh, I got a double-sided one. That's going to be fun. I might want to flip that back, because I think the other side's probably the... Okay, here we go. What we got? We got Narcana Assassin, a vampire assassin ally. Nice. I do want to build an allies deck at some point. Whenever you gain life, this thing gains death touch until end of turn. Ooh. I just finished fixing up my vampire deck, but maybe I want to pull something and put that in. Probably not. Seal of Primordium. Sacrifice this thing, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's not bad. 2 to put it into play, and you don't have to actually pay anything to sacrifice it. I'll take that any day. Top of the pile, 2. Gilded Ceradon. Beast. Whenever this thing attacks, if you control a desert, or there is a desert in your graveyard, target creature can't block. That's not bad. Costs 5 to put into play for a 4/4, but in the right deck, that's not bad. I'm going to put it mid, though. Alright, this is the one that has a double side. We have a Pyretic Prankster. It is a devil. For 2, you get a 2/1. Costs 3 and a Phyrexian black to transform it at Sorcery Seed. And you end up with Glistening Goremonger. When this thing dies, each opponent sacrifices an artifact or creature. It's a 3/2. That's a lot of investment to get there. You first got to get it into play, then you've got to pay the 3 in Phyrexian to transform it. Now, chances are, I mean, you can pay the 2 life, that won't be hard, so as long as you get it into play turn 4 or 5, you're probably going to have enough mana to do this nonsense. But then you want to get it to die, so you're going to have to put it in some sort of deck where it gets sacrificed, or you're going to just have to try and ram it into somebody through combat or something like that, deal damage to it through a sorcery, etc., etc. In order to trigger the ability, and even then, chances are they might just sacrifice a treasure token or something. Like, I don't think that's really that great. It's going mid. The only reason it's not going bottom is because it does have a pretty kick-ass back effect. It's just, yeah, I'm not sure how often you're going to get something good out of it. Cabal Surgeon, on the other hand, looks pretty, and it looks old. Let's see, what year we got here? 93 to 2002. Didn't make the cut for old qualifications, but it still looks good. 2 and 2 black, tap it, remove 2 cards in your graveyard from the game, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Not terrible. Not great, unless... I mean, you know what deck this would be amazing in? Is Sir Conrad, because all 3 of those cards, if they're creatures, are going to trigger him 3 times, and you're going to deal 3 damage, but otherwise... I'm sure there's a few others that I'm not thinking of right now. I'm gonna top it because it's more me personally. I just don't like exiling things from my graveyard if I don't have to. Mostly because I love graveyard messing around shenanigans, so. But I can see why it would be worthwhile putting top. Okay, Honor Guard. Gets +0/+1 until end of turn. If you pay a white, it costs 1 white to put into play. Basically, it just gets really, really buffed up if you pay enough mana so that it doesn't die when it blocks something for you. Not terrible, but it would be better if it was a generic mana instead of white for the cost. That's the only downside. I'm still going to give it a chance at top, though, because it looks retro. 1, Nope, 2004. Or no, 2001. Just misses the cut again. For those who are new to the channel, the cut for me is 2000 and below. If it says a date at the bottom between 92 or something, I think is when the game started. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember exactly when it did. Till 2000. Those count as old school cards, and they get a special classification over here. And we got a legendary! Sorry to have spoiled that by accident or ahead of time. I did see it too. I apologize. We kind of spoiled it for ourselves a little bit there by questioning the old school card. But we have gotten back on track, and it looks kind of neat. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, investigate twice. Pay 1, sacrifice an artifact. This thing gains Vigilance, Lifelink, or Hexproof until end of turn. Nice. I like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. That could be a really fun commander to build. That could be my next commander, potentially, at some point. Because I do have a lot of shenanigans stuff with artifacts in white that I couldn't get into my blue deck that I originally wanted to. So building a blue-white deck with artifact shenanigans could be a good idea. I'm going to have to get a whole bunch of other new blue cards, though, and figure out a new strategy for it, but still pretty happy with that pull, for sure. Rouse the Mob. Strive. This thing costs 2 and red more to cast for each target beyond the first. Okay. Any number of target creatures get +2/+0 and trample until end of turn. Huh. So you can make your board super huge if you have enough mana. It's kind of like this one again. If you have enough of the right mana, again, if it didn't have the extra red, this would definitely be awesome. It is instant speed, so I'm still going to give it top. But, yeah, there are definitely drawbacks to those two cards up there. Kind of like the drawbacks to the Devil, but the Devil is a little bit worse. This one, on the other hand, 3 for a 2/1 with First Strike, and when it enters the battlefield, it explores. Exploring is always good. It'll potentially become a 3/2. With First Strike, not bad. I will... I'm going to put it at the bottom because I prefer things to have more toughness than power. If the power and toughness were reversed, I would top that. Iridescent Blade Master. 3 and a green for its ability. It's 1 and a green to put in a 2/2, and then the ability gives it +2/+2 until end of turn. I mean, it's a nice looking elf, but is not a very solid elf in terms of that is just way too much cost for the ability. Even in a green deck, that's going to be plausible, possibly, 2 or 3 times in a turn, but still, you're using up so much mana for that. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn, draw a card. It's not terrible. Costs 3 to put into play, but it's not terrible. Again, I would prefer it hit the toughness, though. I'm going to admit it. You can argue with me on that one. Shimmerdrift Vale is our land for this pack, clearly. And, again, I've pulled, 5 or 6 copies of this. I'm starting to think I'll just put one of these into, every deck that I really like, just for the shits and giggles of it, because I can choose whatever color I'm struggling with at the time, and then it taps for that color. Ooh, Gateway Plaza. Enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you pay 1. Add 1 mana of any color, and it counts as a gate. Nice! I do want to build a gate deck, so that is awesome. Inspiring Unicorn. Whenever this thing attacks, creatures you control get +1/+1 and... Ooh, nice. Too bad it doesn't have flying. That would have made it much better. But 4 for a 2/2 that gives a nice little buff like that, I'm still going to put it mid. And Intruding Soul Rager. Vigilance. Ooh, a spirit, but we just did spirits. Oh, sacrifice a room. This thing deals 2 damage to each opponent. And you draw a card. It's not horrible. It's definitely going to go in my rooms deck, probably. But I don't want to necessarily sacrifice rooms. The whole point of the rooms deck is going to be to build a giant house. It's probably going to be a bracket 1 deck, to be honest. Alright, pack number 2 coming at you. So Kaiba in the park. We went to the park today like we do for our typical walks on Sunday, and we discovered that there is a festival going on in the park. Now, it hadn't started up yet, so the people weren't like super crowded around or anything, because if that was the case, Kaiba would have got really, really upset. He does not do well with crowds, just like his daddy. But, in terms of just like, there were vehicles parked everywhere, like, we're talking like motorhomes, and like there's people with tents all over the place, and transport trucks to bring Ferris wheels and mini little roller coasters and stuff like that, all kinds of stuff. And that field where Kaiba likes to throw the ball around, that was where they set everything up. So we didn't have anywhere to really play, per se, until we got all the way back around the park, do the little circle with my hand, back to where we were parked, because where I park when I come into that park, there's a baseball diamond. There's actually two of them, but they're like at opposite ends of each other using the same field as like an outfield, which is kind of weird. I hope people don't play baseball games at the same time, because that seems like it's an injury waiting to happen, but I presume not. Anyways, so when we got back around to there, we played with the ball a little bit, but he was like really tired by then. So he wasn't happy about that. And the other thing he wasn't happy about was there wasn't a lot of people who were willing to let their dogs socialize with Kaiba today. Kaiba's a very like super friendly dog, a little hyperactive. I think that's common for pugs, but it might be just especially particular for my pug, because again, I'm hyperactive and my former partner was also ADHD. So between the two of us, we probably definitely influenced Kaiba a lot with our impulsivity and stuff. But he only got to socialize with two dogs right near the end of our tour. The rest of the time, everybody quickly would pull their dogs away, and it was because their dogs weren't friendly, or they were in a hurry or something. Like, it wasn't like anything against Kaiba necessarily, but I don't think he took it well. He was definitely really upset. Electrostatic Infantry, Dwarf Wizard. Trample. Whenever you cast an instance or sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Okay. I mean, in the right deck, that's definitely going to go well. It'll get beefy, and because it has Trample, I'll put it top. Civic Saber. Equip creature gets +1/+0 for each of its Ooh, I like that. I wish, again, if it gave toughness, this thing would go top. But because it goes only power, I'm going to mid it. Nice, we got an extra Stalking Tiger. I like this card. It can only be blocked by one creature. I just really like the artwork on this thing. I put one in my kitty deck, but now that I have an extra, I'll probably put it in like one of my green decks. And it is old school, so it gets the special distinction of being next to the legendary over here. Alright. Elf Rogue, Golgari Decoy. All creatures able to block this thing do so. Ooh, I do love this one. The scavenge ability I don't care as much about, but if you can give this thing indestructible, and you swing it at somebody, they have to use their entire board to block this, and then the rest of your board can swing out for free. I have one copy of this in my Death Touch mono green deck, and now that I have another one, I have no idea which one of my decks I'm going to put this into right now, but it's definitely going to get a huge boost. Blazing Hope. Exile target creature with power greater than or equal to your life total. Huh. I mean, in a very specific circumstance, that's going to go well. If you're dying, you've got a really good shot of, like, punishing somebody for killing you, but otherwise, I'm going to admit it. Shadow Glider, 2 and a white for a 2/2 with fly, and nothing else. A few bands of core sought refuge from the Eldrazi in Zandakar's vast cave networks, relying on their ability to survive in harsh vertical landscapes. Interesting. Still going mid. Ogrehead's Helm. We've seen this card a bunch of times. You guys can still see this, right? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm not off screen. The reconfigure is a little bit expensive for what it does, but otherwise, it's not terrible. I'll admit it. Grapple with the past. 1 in a green. For an instant, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. That's interesting. I'm going to top that. Somehow I feel like that could be a really good saving card in the right situation if you can get like something with flashback and save yourself. For example, Flurry of Horns. 5, 4 in a red, so 5. Put 2/3 red Minotaur creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. You're going mid because you cost too much. Forcer's Accord. 4, a green and a white. Put a 3/3 green Centaur creature token onto the battlefield, then populate. You are also going to the mid. For the same reason. Talus Lookout. Flying. 3/2 for 4. When it dies, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Not terrible. Because you have the evasion, I will definitely put you top. But otherwise, that would have been mid. Font of Ire, 1 in a red, to put it into play, and then 3 in a red to sacrifice it, and it deals 5 damage to target player. That is going to bottom. Reason being, it does nothing when it comes into play for what you pay for it. Oh, bottom 1 off screen. Okay, we'll put bottom over here underneath lands. It does nothing when you put it into play, so you're basically paying 6 to get the ability. I'm not impressed by that. Goblin Freerunner. Costs 4, and then there's a Surge, which is, you can cast this cost for Surge if you or a teammate has cast another spell this turn. That's interesting. It is an ally card. Has Menace. It's a 3/2. All solid reasons that it's going to go... I'm going to admit it. No, you know what? Because it has Surge, I'm going to go top. Alright. Swiftwater Cliffs. Enters the battlefield tapped. You gain a life. I always love life gain lands. I like the artwork on that one. Bring that one in close for you guys. That is some really nice artwork. Who did this? 8? Is it Aiton? Zena? I apologize if I got your name wrong. Eytan. Aiton? Zena, I'm assuming, is the correct pronunciation of the last name, but I could be wrong on that too. And a Temple of the False God, which is always a nice land to pull. Alright, 2 packs to go. Kaiba's gone back downstairs. I assume to lay on the tile floor, because that'll keep him cool. Yeah, but the other reason he was upset about today's trip out was just, like I say, not being able to play. Oh, spoiler. Well, since we spoiled it, we already got another one of these again, so I'll just pull that out and show it to you now. And it's going right in the same spot as the other one because of the same reason. You cost way too much to put into play. Alright, the rest of this I will now sort. It is nice to get some dual face cards again, though. It's been a long time since we started pulling dual face cards, so... Even if it is mid, I'm still happy. Graveshifter. Changeling. When this thing enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Costs 4 for a 2/2. But that is insane. And if you put that in a deck where you can keep cycling it back from the graveyard, then whenever it enters, it's going to give you another one. That's pretty good. I like that. I might have to go back and edit the sacrifice deck I just finished. You're going top for sure. Ironclad Revolutionary. Costs 6 to put in a 4/4. Aetherborn Artificer. This is the only... I have very few cards that have Aetherborn as a creature type. So this is kind of neat to pull another one of those. We'll give the art some appreciation. And whenever this thing enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice an artifact. If you do, put 2+1/+1 counters on it, and each opponent loses 2 life. That is pretty freaking solid. Duffdale Worm, 7 for 7/7 with trample. Goes mid. Azorius Gilgate. I think we pulled this one last time, and we really appreciated the stamp on it last time. So, I mean, I'm happy to pull another one, but I'm only going to be able to use one in a Gilgate deck, so the rest of them are just going to be lands that I add to other decks that need dual colors. Ooh, Sunblade Angels. Costs 6 for a 3/3, but the 3/3 comes with Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. That is a stacked frickin' angel. I am going to put that top, even though it costs a lot, because it is stacked with stats. Necrobite, always a fun one to pull. Give Death Touch, Regenerate. I'm good with those. Relic Runner, can't be blocked if you've cast a historic spell this turn. Artifact, Legendary, or Sagas are historic. It is a human rogue, 2 for a 2/1. That could end up in my blue deck. Otherwise, it's gonna... You know what, I'm gonna mid it for now. Because outside of my blue deck, I'm not really sure what deck that would be overly powerful in. Merciless Repurposing. 6 for an instant, where you exile a creature and then incubate 3. I mean, that is a lot for what you're invested. I'm going to mid it because of the art. The art is what's going to save it on this one, and I'll zoom in so you can see that. But, and I mean, the flavor text is nice too. As the harvesters bore away the last of his limbs, what remained of Urbrask heard Elish Norn say, "Leave the traitor be." That is pretty sick. So yeah, you get mid based on artwork and flavor text. Thrown to the High City is an amazing land. It only costs, it only gives you colorless, so you would think it's not super great, but the fact that you can pay 4 and sacrifice it to become Monarch is hilarious. And I only have one copy of this, so I'm really happy to have another one. The one copy being in the actual precon that it came in. Dragon's Presence, 2 and a white, deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature at instant speed. The Ancestor Dragon appeared atop the clouds amid scattering mountains and thundering earth. Nice. You're gonna go top. You got a nice artwork. Appreciate the artwork. You got a nice flavor, and your cost is reasonable. Guardians of Quelos. 5 for a 4/4 construct. When this thing enters the battlefield, you can return another target historic permanent you control to its owner's hand. That seems like it's really good, but I can't think of where I would put it right now. I'll still give it top props because the idea of flashing something back in that has like an ETB that's really helpful, or it's too bad it doesn't have flash. If it had flash, that would make it really good, but I'm still going to leave it where it is. 3 for an artifact that tap you get 1 energy, or tap, pay 3 energy, and deal 2 damage to target player. It's not horrible. I'm not sure whether I'd put that in my energy deck or not, but I'll still top it, because it generates the energy each turn if you want to, and possibly multiple times if you can actually figure a way to untap it and tap it again. Struggle and Survive is a nice instant sorcery combo. Deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control, so you're going to wipe out something probably if you play it late enough in the game. And then Survive, you can play from your graveyard at sorcery speed, and each player shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library. The problem with the Survive is you don't get to shuffle this back in. This gets exiled as a part of the cost to playing it, which kind of sucks. But other than that, you get to reshuffle your library and everybody else does. It's kind of nice. I do love this card, and it's going top. And we got Stone Quarry. Enters the battlefield tapped, gives you red or white. Can't complain about a dual land. Can you? Can you really complain about a dual land? I suppose we can complain about them tapping, coming in tapped, but meh. Alright, we're going to do the final pack of today's episode. And like I say, if all works out well, maybe next week sometime we will do a live episode, or the week after that. Fingers crossed. And I will keep you posted. We got our one legendary. Can we pull a second one in this pack? Pushing our luck maybe, but I'm gonna try and go for it. Knock on wood. Here we go. Krakanura. Reach, evolve, 1/3. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. It's going to keep getting bigger and it can block everything that flies. In green, you need that kind of power. I'm going to put that there. Sadistes Faithful. Costs 1 to put a 0/4 into play. That's not bad. It has exploit, which is interesting. And when it exploits a creature, return target creature to its owner's hand. Huh. You know what? I kind of like that, actually. That's going top. Ooh, we pulled another Ironclad. Did we put him top last time? I think we did. We did. He's going top again, then. We pulled another Worm. I think we put that mid, so it's going mid. Oculus Whelp. Phyrexian Dragon. Oh, that's an interesting combo. Flying 3/2 for 4. As long as you control a transform permanent, this thing has, when it dies, draw a card. Okay, it seemed really cool at first, and then it became wickedly lame. Do I even want to put that mid? I guess I'll give it mid just because it flies. Nice, we pulled another Sunblade Angel. I can put an extra one in a different deck. Another Necrobite. Eviscerate. Destroy target creature. Cost 4 and it's sorcery speed though, so that's going mid. Actually, you know what? That's going bottom. That is very limited. And it costs too much. Fugitive of the Judun. Create a 1/1 white human creature token with Ward 2 and a 4/4 white alien rhino creature token. Investigate for Chapter 2, and for Chapter 3 you can exile a human you control and an artifact you control. If you do, search your library for a doctor card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle. That is pretty neat in a doctor's deck. Otherwise, I'm gonna mid it, just because the first two effects aren't bad. Smite the Monstrous. Destroy target creature of power 4 or greater at instant speed, but costs 4. I'm gonna mid. Infernal Phantom. Cost 4, 4, 2, 3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. That's not bad. Whenever it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Okay, that's really good. That's going top. Tempest Caller. Enters the battlefield, tap all creatures target. Ooh, shit! It costs 4 to put in a 2/3 that does that? How is that only a rare? Or no, that's not even a rare, that's an uncommon. That just hit my Merfolk list, and that might be my top pull of the day, to be honest. That's going to make my Merfolk deck insane if I play that at the right time. We got a Looming Spires. Enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 on first strike until end of turn. And you tap it to add red. I'm okay with that land. Can't complain about it. Drifting Shade. Flying 1/1 for 4. You have to pay a black to give it +1/+1. And yeah, you go bottom. Flying's not even going to save that. That's terrible. Ominous Cemetery. Tapped for colorless. Pay 5, exile it. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. I suppose at the right time that's going to be a good saving grace, but that's a lot of mana for that second ability. At least it's not sorcery speed, but still. Alright, we got our one legendary, so we've got back on track. At least we're not in a drought. Positives. Pulled some pretty cool in. Some pretty cool other cards. But I definitely think this is the pull of the day, unless somebody can argue with me otherwise, because, I mean, that Angel's really kick-ass too, and I'm glad we pulled 2 copies of it. Struggle and Survive is decent, for sure. But, and Graveshifter, you know what? Between Graveshifter and the Mermaid, those are the two polls of the day, I think. Even Golgari Decoy, actually. We'll throw him up there. You know what? This is a really good Draws of Destiny. There was a lot more there than I was originally remembering. You'll notice my short-term memory kind of sucks because of my ADHD. I remember things better if I, read them a few times, or if I watch the same video 2 or 3 times, I'll actually memorize almost the entire video just by doing that. But if I only watch something or read something once, the chances of me retaining more than half of what I've read or watched is pretty slim. Interesting how special needs work, eh? Alright. I would show you the pug, but he's gone, so we'll just cap it off there. Much love to you all. For me, take care. Oh, I forgot. One more thing. Do you guys prefer this angle, or do you prefer the angle we were doing on the weekend for the 2 videos from Saturday? If you prefer the angle over on the table, let me know, and I will start doing videos from that angle starting next week. Except for whatever videos I've already pre-recorded that you guys will get eventually at one point or another. There's only 2 or 3 left, though, that I've pre-recorded. Pretty much caught up to every content I've done. Anyways, redo the outro. Much love to you all. From you, take care. Happy Tuesday. See you later. Bye.